Hello, welcome. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are tuning in from. My name is Dal Grung. This is From a Place of Self, and I'm so glad that you are here. We've been reading from this beautiful book, You Are the One You've Been Waiting For by Dr. Richard Schwartz. And we're in the introduction right now. And he starts to lay out some of the beautiful foundational teachings, which we'll get right into. He gives this, we're not going to read the whole book word for word, but we'll look at sections and pieces of it that I find really interesting. He gives this example of this couple that's having this issue. And in case you're wondering, well, I'm not having issues with my couple partner, or I'm not in a relationship, I'm not looking to get in a relationship, what does this got to do with me? You'll find that this is universal principle because we exist in relationships, whether it be our intimate partners or our friends or our families or the wounds we've experienced from those and the lack of relationships that we have in our life because of the pains that we've experienced and the yearnings we thus have wanting to find healthy, positive relationships. So we all exist in the context of relationships. So he says that there's an idea of what we normally think is wrong in a relationship, and he challenges that. So he says couples are told that if they could just accommodate each other enough, they would be happy. Each partner is asked what they need from the other, and therapy is designed to find ways that each can change to meet the other's needs. But what if there's an essential flaw in this accommodation premise that sets up couples to fail? I believe that there is. Conditions exist, and this is the powerful part that I want you to get. That's the whole premise of this whole entire podcast, the premise of every spiritual literature that I've ever read, whether it's Falling Upward by Richard Rohr or the Bhagavad Gita or anything. It's right here. Conditions exist within each partner and in the context of their lives that, if left unchanged, will preclude finding the intimate, mutually supportive, and respectful connection they crave. I'm going to read that again. Listen closely. If you're putting the kids to bed or you're washing the dishes or you're exercising and pumping iron or whatever it is, tune in. Conditions exist within each partner, each person, all of us. And in the context of our lives, that if left unchanged, you know what that means? If I don't address certain things that are going on inside of me, there are internal conditions that are taking place inside of me from my past, this life, past lives, whatever it is. It goes far back. There's stuff that I'm carrying that's create a condition of how I operate. And unless I address that, Richard Schwartz says, if left unchanged, that will preclude, meaning it comes before, it will trump. I'm sorry for using that word if that's a triggering word. I don't mean the person, I mean the verb. It will trump, it will overcome, it will edge out. It will make mute all other points. It will preclude finding the intimate, mutually supportive, and respectful connection they crave. Meaning there's something that has to happen in order for all of that to take place. This book will describe those conditions and offer a clear path to changing them. It will help couples replace the controlling, this podcast, why I'm here today. It will help couples, anybody, individuals, you, me, us, replace the controlling, dependent, possessive, or distant relating that we've come to expect and dread with something he calls, courageous love. Read that again. We'll learn to replace the controlling, dependent, controlling meaning I'm trying to control the circumstances. I'm trying to get you to be a certain way. I need you to adjust in order to make me happy. Dependent. I can't be happy unless you're a certain way. I can't be happy unless I find the right relationship. I can't be fulfilled unless a certain someone comes into my life. Possessive, right? You belong to me. You are mine, right? That goes along with controlling and dependent, right? That you can't live your own life because no, 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 no. You are a supporting character in my movie. You didn't get the script, did you? You didn't get the outline, right? Somebody didn't tell you the role you're supposed to be. You don't seem to be getting it. That's okay. Sit down and I will tell you. I will tell you the role that you're supposed to be playing in my life, right? Because I got it all mapped out. I had it mapped out before I even met you. That I was going to find the perfect person and they were going to be like this and they were going to treat me like that. And we were going to do this together and this was going to happen and we were going to get this house and this family and blah, 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 and all these things. That's a possessiveness, right? 5 A's. I think his name is David Rico. He has a beautiful book, highly recommend. Maybe we'll read it on this podcast one day. How to be an adult in relationships. Powerful, powerful concept. How to be an adult in relationship. And he has these 5 A's of loving relationship. And the last one is allowing. When I can allow someone to be them, right? I can allow my kids, accept them. First is just acceptance is one of them. There's acknowledgement, acceptance, appreciation, affection, and then the ultimate is allowing. I'm willing to allow you to live your own life, to be who you are. And I don't have to change it or control it or expect you to be different. So this idea of letting people go from our possessiveness, right? So Richard Schwartz says, to replace the controlling, dependent, possessive, or distant relating, right? When we're not able to control, we're not able to possess, we're not able to depend on people the way we think we need to, then we just get distance. We preserve the relationship, but there's just nothing in it. Or we settle for some low-grade dissatisfaction. So to replace all of that with something that he calls courageous love. I love this concept, and he's going to define it for us. When each partner has courageous love for the other, many of the chronic struggles most couples face melt away because each partner is released, right? You can almost get a visceral reaction to the word releasing. We can release each other from being primarily responsible for making the other feel good. Isn't that powerful? I can release you from being the person who's primarily responsible for making me feel good. I can release you from the burden of responsibility that you're supposed to make my life bright, that you're supposed to be the antidote for the lack of love that I didn't receive earlier on in my life, right? You're not supposed to be the one that picks me up all the time, right? Because if that's your role, then that means that you have entered into the contract of my own controlling, dependent, possessive tendencies, or vice versa. If I think that I'm supposed to pick you up all the time, that doesn't mean that we don't contribute to other people's happiness, doesn't mean that we don't bring joy and enhance the quality of life for other people. That's not the case. It's not what we're saying. It's not that. Because this is about how to have positive relationships with courageous love. But he says that I release you from being the primary one responsible for that within me. And instead, each one knows how to care for their own vulnerability so that neither has to force the other into a preconceived mold or control the other's journey. Instead, we each know, I'm just reading this again, how to care for their own vulnerability so that neither has to force the other into a preconceived mold or control the other's journey. Courageous love involves accepting all the parts of the other. Those are those A words, right? Accepting, allowing, appreciating, acknowledging that they're even there, having affection, those 5 A's of David Rico. Accepting all the parts of the other because there is no longer a need to keep the other in the confining roles of parent, redeemer, ego booster, or protector. Meaning that I'm not trying to get you to fill that supportive role in my life, right? I'm coming in with all of my own stuff, and I need a redeemer. I need a fixer. I need a validator. I need a whatever, fill in the blank. And you're it, baby. You've been selected. You may not even have known that you just won the lottery, and you are going to be my redeemer, my fixer, my fill in the gap of whatever it is I was looking for. And when somebody falls short of that, I mean, we can lean and be a little honest here that sometimes the things that, when we think about hating another person, right? Like, I hate my ex-husband. I hate my ex-wife. I hate my current husband or wife. I hate that friend who, like, we think about people that we hate deeply. And we think about all the people in the world that we could hate. Like, if we were to have hate and direct it towards somebody, like, you're telling me that of all the people in the world, that's the person that you think is the best recipient to feel negatively about? Like, all of the people who do terrible things in the world, like, the person because they let you down, and therefore you hate them with such vitriol? No, it's not because they're the worst scum of the earth. It's because you had a plan for how they were supposed to be in your life, and they didn't live up to it. They betrayed the contract that you gave to them, which they may or may not have even signed or been aware of. And so often, we bring people into contracts of what we think they're supposed to be in our life without ever letting them know. And it happens to us too. Sometimes we voluntarily sign up for contracts in people's lives that they're not even aware of. We assume roles in their life, the fixer, the redeemer. We're going to be that for them. And they didn't ask for it. Or sometimes they do ask for it and we're not able to step up into the plate. So he says that courageous love means that we can accept all the other parts of another person. So when I see the laziness in my husband or my wife or my partner, or I see some defect in them that I don't like, some perceived defect, what's really going on is I hate that so much because it prevents them from stepping into the role that I wanted them to be for me. You can't be lazy. You can't be forgetful. You can't be X, Y, or Z. You're supposed to be my knight in shining armor. You're supposed to be my rock. You're supposed to be my trophy. You're supposed to be my source of dependency, support, etc. I can't let you be you with all your vulnerability and messiness because you're supposed to be something preconceived for me. So courageous love involves accepting all that. When I release the other person from that expectation, I can start to allow and accept all of you. Because your perceived defects no longer get in the way of me receiving and having the healing and vulnerability that I have taken responsibility for in myself. So courageous love involves accepting all parts of the other because there's no longer a need to keep the other in the confining roles of parent, redeemer, ego booster, protector. The other senses that acceptance and freedom, right? We know what it's like to not feel accepted by another person. They feel and sense that acceptance and freedom, which feels wonderful and unusual to them. They come to trust that they don't have to protect themselves from you and can keep their heart open. And so this is the type of courageous love that we want to walk into. And it goes on. We're going to stop there for today. But I just want to highlight that for us and allow that to just sink in a little bit for each of us of the ways in which I've signed other people up to play specific roles in my life. And what am I compensating for? What was I expecting them to do? I say this all the time to people, and I say it to myself. I usually don't want the things I want. I want the things I thought those things that I wanted would give me. I don't want the things I want. I want the things that I thought the things I wanted would give me. I want a successful career. No, I don't. I want financial freedom, and I want a sense of worthiness, and I want a sense of validation that I'm worthy. I want to make a bunch of money. No, I want financial freedom. I want a husband or a wife or a partner. No, you don't. You want intimacy and connection and belonging. There's a lot of people that you can just go find a husband or a wife or a person. You can get married to anybody. But it's not the husband that you're looking for, the wife that you're looking for, or the partner that you're looking for. It's a sense of intimacy and connection and belonging. That's what I want. And so what is it that I'm thinking the things that I want will give me? What is it that I've been expecting my partner to provide for me? And I can at least be honest with that. When I can have that honest conversation, you know what? I've been expecting you to make me happy, to make me feel loved, to make me feel all these kind of things. And it doesn't mean that they are supposed to make us feel like crap. It doesn't mean that our partner can just do whatever and it's like, I can treat you however I want because it's your responsibility to be happy. No, we still have courageous love and respect, and we'll talk about what that means in later episodes, but it means that I'm accepting the role of the primary caretaker of my inner parts. I'm primarily responsible for my inner world and my sense of well-being. And if there are parts of me that are yearning for validation, acceptance, belonging, care, before I expect somebody else to do it, there's a way in which I can start to give that to myself. And if I feel overwhelmed in that task, if I feel like it's too much, I don't know how to do that, that's because there are other wounded parts of me that are trying to do it rather than giving space for my real, authentic sense of self to step in. Your sense of authentic core self knows how to do that. And it doesn't have to be all at once. You can start in small steps. Excuse me. You can start in small steps. And so just today, allow yourself a moment of space right here, right now. We can do it together. Just allow yourself some spaciousness to accept whatever parts are coming in, the loneliness, the regret, the fear, the anxiety, the heaviness, the uncertainty, the worry, and just extend a little bit of compassion and curiosity. You know what? I know you're here and you're a part of me. You're playing a valuable role. And you've probably been doing it for a very long time, feeling very alone, feeling very on your own. And I just want to let you know that you don't have to be alone anymore. And we're going to start checking in. And you just do that one little step at a time. And open your heart to a sense of compassion. And that's where our spiritual practice comes in, our prayer, our meditation, our time in nature, our reading of spiritual literature, is that it connects us to a power greater than ourselves. Those are the first 3 steps in any 12-step program that are so powerful that we can live our whole life by, that we come to believe that life is unmanageable in the face of something that we can't overcome. We come to believe that a power that is greater than ourselves can restore us to wholeness and completion. And we turn our will and our life over to that care of God as we understand that God, because that is our sense, that is our connection to the ability to care for all of those parts in ourselves that need our love and our attention that we've been expecting other people to do for us. So I invite you to have that curiosity and compassion today. I invite you to connect to God today. Don't forget that. Krishna gives in the Bhagavad Gita so many beautiful ways to connect. I am the light of the sun and the moon. I am the ability in all people, the strength of the strong. Of seasons, I am flower-bearing spring. Of immovable objects, I'm the Himalaya mountains. We can look out into the world. One of my favorite songs by India Ari is God is Real. How do you know that God is real? I look out in the world. I see the fish. I see the sea. I see the sun. I see fire. I just see the world working. There are miracles in every moment, and we can just invite God's presence in right here, right now. And that presence opens up a little bit of doorway to self. And when we're in that place of self, we can care for all the inner parts of ourselves needing attention so that we can then enact courageous love to other people without having to expect them to do it for us. And when we do that, then our relationships become an enhancer rather than the replacer of what we are designed to give to ourselves through our connection with our higher power. Thank you so much for being here. I'm sending you tons of love. I'm so glad that you're here. Please leave a comment if you're watching on YouTube, or leave a review or a rating if you're listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you are. Reach out. Feel free to be in touch. Dayal at consciousearthinstitute.com. I love hearing from you. I love reading your emails. Feel free to reach out, be in touch, share your thoughts, reflections, questions, realizations, stories, and be in touch. Take care. Be well. Bye-bye.